Hey everyone, welcome to Team 25 Europe. You are here with Axel from Atlassian, and we're going to be talking about Jira Product Discovery and all things product. So, thank you.
My pleasure. I love being here. This is one of the best opportunities for us to meet our customers and partners, specifically in the European region. And we're really excited about the trajectory we're taking with Jira Product Discovery. So if you followed a little bit of our history, the product was created 2.5 years ago. We are one of the only product teams at Atlassian that's fully located in Europe. We've consistently had customer satisfaction score over 80 for the past 2.5 years. Customers really love it. And we just recently passed the 20,000 customer mark. So we're super excited. Our customers are super excited about the product. And in my role as a product management evangelist, I spend a lot of time with our customers, right? And a lot of what they're trying to achieve right now is something you might have heard of, which is like what a lot of companies are calling the product model transformation. So, how do you go from a project model to a product
Yeah,
model?
I've heard of project to product
Right.
many
So,
times.
correct. So, I feel like if you think about digital transformation as a whole, like the latest phase of this right now is this specific transformation. How do you get teams to move from outputs to outcomes? How do they organize their work in terms of like being more agile, having more velocity,
Yeah.
things like you would just expect in high performing teams, but in a lot of larger companies, it's still not there.
Yeah, one of my favorite features and one of my favorite things about JPD is that we sometimes, as a customer, get so frustrated that Jira's not working, but it's not working because you're so far into the deep end on an idea
Yeah.
that wasn't fully baked.
Yeah.
And JPD, I love it that it gives you that context, that ability to really nurture requirements before you commit resources in
I
Jira.
think you've hit it on the nail. So a lot of the work that we do in JPD is about finding that strategic context and like creating a level of confidence about the work that you're doing through insights, for example, and grounding your product decision making in evidence, right? So at some point when a stakeholder comes to you and asks you, why is it that we prioritize this piece of work? You can actually look into the data and tell a story of like, where does this idea come from? Maybe from customer feedback, maybe from, one of your largest customers asking for something, maybe from support, and you can look at that and all the data you've collected through time from third-party systems like Salesforce, but also first-party systems across the Atlassian system of work, right? And then you're building this kind of like holistic picture of how do we inform our decision making in the product organization? How do we prioritize? And how do we communicate the outcome of our prioritization to the rest of the organization, right? And one of the things that I think more and more people are excited about is like how do we bridge this like what our customers call the product hub or the product operating system, which is Jira Product Discovery, with what we're hearing from feedback sources, for example. So I don't know if you followed, but recently we acquired a company called Cycle.
Yep.
So they operate in the feedback management space. And we're really excited to have them on board because they're going to help us bring this idea to life of how do we leverage feedback from third-party systems, but also from Atlassian system of work using AI to build a better view of like what is it we're working with, like from a customer support perspective, from a feedback perspective, from trends that are happening in the market, and then make sense of all this volume of information from across all of these different touch points to inform how the product team decides what to prioritize, and then go into your typical JPD workflow, right?
Yeah, because otherwise you're just taking a shot in the dark.
Correct.
You're hoping, fingers crossed, that there will be a market, that there's a demand, and otherwise with this, it just makes the guesswork go.
And you're absolutely right. And this is something we've recently found out in our State of Product Report 2026, where we find that actually a large majority of teams today still do not feel confident about the product they're putting out there, right? And a lot of it is because they're not doing proper product discovery. That's one of them. The second reason is if you look at a lot of teams today, engineering comes in way too late in the story. So they get involved when, there's this like super deep and super well-written spec that's been like written for this piece of work, and then engineers find out about it when it's like time to code.
Right. Yeah.
When they should have been actually involved super earlier on to share, their assessment of feasibility or how to even think about the solution. So,
And I've seen it in reverse, where engineering has an idea and there's no go-to-market strategy, and you're like, you just spent millions of dollars on building something and there's no customer.
yeah, so I think this is a lot of what we're seeing right now, with especially with AI coming into the mix, and everybody's talking about AI right now. I also see this trend where a lot of companies are going back to basics.
Mm-hmm.
So before you try and apply AI to everything, there are some table stakes you need to figure out. Like, how does your how does your team build consistently and at pace? That's like the number one thing. The second thing is like, how do you solve problems? So it's all about product discovery. And the third thing is how you decide which problems to solve, which is really about prioritization.
Yeah, that's
so
so important.
These are like three things you should be focusing on.
Because you can't boil the ocean, is what I like to tell people, right? You got to start compartmentalizing and picking the item that's going to give you the best return on investment, the best effect, and the best sale for your company. Because at the end of the day, you got to make money to stay in business.
A quick shout out to ServiceRocket and the crew member program built for Atlassian Certified freelancers. If you ever wanted access to bigger projects but run into roadblocks like compliance or audits, this program helps bridge that gap. You'll get to work on the big projects, grow your skills through certification support, and join a community of like-minded experts. If this sounds like a win for you, look into our description for the link.
Yes, you have to help customers make progress in their workflows in a way that creates value for the business, right?
Yeah. So I've been seeing JPD grow up 2.5 years ago. One of my favorite features was the moment you can link an idea with an epic. And I wanted to ask you, what's one of your favorite features of JPD?
I think we have a really uncelebrated feature, which is the view publishing feature.
Okay.
So, you build a view in Jira Product Discovery, and a view could be like a roadmap. It could be like a
lot of different
2x2 matrix. Yeah. It could be like a list view. It could be like a board view with like a now, next, later. And one thing that a lot of customers and product teams, specifically a lot of product managers, come to us and talk about is how they can claim sometimes days of work back. Because in the previous world, you can imagine a stakeholder or a leader would send a message and say, "Hey, Alex, I've got a exec meeting next week. We're doing an offsite. Send me the latest version of the roadmap, or what are the things working on right now." So you'd be scrambling, like going into slides or like an Excel sheet and trying to figure out, like, piece this thing together. And the moment you put this roadmap together, it's out of date because the teams are moving at the same time, right? So with view publishing, you can actually build an always live view of your roadmap and share a URL with a stakeholder or a leader. And every time they look at that view, they're looking at the actual version of reality right now in real time. And people don't have to go and build these offline roadmaps anymore. They just share a URL. And sometimes the stakeholders and leaders will bookmark this URL.
Yeah.
So it sounds trivial. It's something like super easy, but it like makes such a big difference for our users.
No, absolutely, because the stakeholders aren't always in the tools.
Correct. And they don't have to be.
And they absolutely don't have to be. But the data's in there.
Yeah.
For them to make the decisions that need to be made. So I love that they can easily get to.
Yeah, we built a specific consumer experience for like people, like stakeholders, to consume these views wherever they are.
Yeah. Now, I want to ask you, one of the biggest requests that I've been getting is, I have an idea. We nurture that idea. We prioritize that idea. We love the idea. We're ready to pull it into Jira. We can do the delivery epics, but how do I get a better, more holistic percent complete of where that idea is relative to the entire life cycle that happens after the idea has been basically blessed to proceed? Any thoughts on how do we, where's Atlassian going there to help people? Because I think you're doing a great job at the idea part. You're doing a great job on the Jira side on the delivery part, but a lot of the stakeholders or a lot of the work folks that I talk with, they still need a better bridge to tell me, here's my idea that the stakeholders are watching and following, but we just don't know where we're at still relative to all the work happening.
I think there's a few things there. So first of all, I will just say it's a work in progress, right? We're still building this product and it's going to be improved over the next coming months and weeks. and the team is like hardworking and trying to take this to where our vision is for the product. But there's a couple of things I hear from customers that we're really trying to nail. The first one is like, how does this whole concept of ideas work with goals? Because you mentioned progress.
That's going to be an important one, yeah.
So you mentioned progress. So the way people measure progress in a lot of organizations, especially when you move up the altitude in an organization, is like, am I hitting my OKRs? What is like, okay, great, the teams are working on this epic. What does this mean for the business? So you need a way to bring back all of the work that's happening into a view that makes sense for leaders and for the broader business, because you are incentivized on these objectives and key results. And in a lot of companies, also how people measure progress and how you measure your own progress, because you have a performance review and people are going to look at like, what did you ship and how did it impact customers and things like that. So the integration of goals and the experience of goals with JPD is in one of other areas of focus that we have. It's part of a theme that we call Better Together. So how does JPD work better together with the rest of the Atlassian system of work? So that's one thing. The second thing I'll say is, as we've released Focus and it becomes more of a planning component in the life cycle of an idea. A lot of our customers want to bridge like this very high level strategic planning all the way down to the prioritization of these ideas, which can sometimes be relatively large bodies of work, all the way down to what is happening in delivery Jira.
Yeah, because right now I'm able to pull in the idea into a plan,
yes,
which I love.
Yeah,
but I still can't link them.
Right.
It's like, if I could link them, then that would give so many teams that full breath of.
So the direction of travel is this: is like, we want you to be able to go from a focus area and a budget, like something that's been funded, all the way down to like, how is this going to contribute to our business goals, all the way down to the ideas in JPD, all the way down to the actual work that the development teams are doing in Jira.
Yeah.
All in one big holistic.
I'm really, really excited for that. I think
so are we.
That's a vision that I think would answer so many people's frustrations, not with the tools, but just with the disconnection between the tools and their internal processes. Then there's just a little gap. JPD definitely getting closer, and I'm really excited for it.
I love it.
But thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. Always.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks.